Here in the heart of Botswana, a baby elephant is born. He may be helpless, but he embodies hope, for he is the son of the matriarch who leads the entire clan. For the very first time, our special cameras are able to film in the depths of night, in color, using only the light from the moon and stars, to reveal the secrets of this special land and discover a whole new world. The dry season is fast approaching, and the elephant clan is now ready to leave its native land and embark on a daunting journey. They must travel across almost 500 kilometers of hostile terrain. In search of the water they need for this newborn baby and his siblings to survive. No one knows how their story ends, but this is how it begins. This elephant family lives on the vast African savanna, one of the world's last great wildernesses. During the day, it can seem quiet and uneventful. But when night falls and the Milky Way rolls out its ribbon of stars, this place becomes a stage where the animals play out their nightly dramas, now captured by us. For the wildlife of the savannah, the drama starts here. Our story began one evening when a dominant male elephant came in search of the matriarch of the clan by the banks of the river where she was drinking. Having finished nursing her last-born child, she was ready to accept him, to give herself up to this powerful but deceptively gentle beast. Protected by the night shadows, their passion went on until daybreak. Many months have passed, and now the clan females have returned. It is the rainy season, so the plains are filled with water, and the savanna is a lavish, fertile green. It is here and now, almost 2 years after the matriarch mated with that massive bull, that her baby is born. It's a boy, the latest baby born to the clan. His mother and the other females in the group must protect and educate him. If they fail to do so, he will not survive. Even when still a baby, he tries to imitate his mother, using his trunk to do so. It's not easy, as he must coordinate more than 150,000 muscles. This powerful male is the baby's father. Weighing more than 6 tons, he is the undisputed patriarch of the clan, a true champion. These young males are too old to live with their mothers, but too unruly and boisterous to stay with their extended families. So they form strong bonds with their peers, creating a joyous group of young bachelors. But the moment that the older males decide that bath time is over, they must obey. It's for their own good. Following their elders ensures protection by the strongest males. This is family life for our elephants. The females and young on one side, the males on the other, though never too far away from the females. The problem with these adolescent males is that they just never stop fighting. Their brawls are not serious, though. It's just their way of deciding their rank in the hierarchy of the group. Once they have found their place in the pecking order, they keep it for life. These perpetual jousts can be very dangerous for the baby elephants. That's why the matriarchs have banished these rowdy adolescents. Eventually, they will leave their group and become solitary males, looking for a clan. Our baby elephant is now 3 months old. He is growing fast, having feasted to his heart's content during the rainy season. Under the close watch of his mother, every day brings a new learning experience. She is more experienced than any of the other females in the clan, giving him a much better chance of survival. Imitating his mother, he tastes the wide range of grasses on offer before he eats them. This way, he learns the difference between good and bad. It will take him another 4 years to fully master the use of his trunk, which he'll use to smell, eat, drink, fight, and caress. Our baby elephant has 3 older sisters. The youngest is just 2 years old and already weaned, but is having a hard time giving up her place on their mother's teats. He plays with all his sisters, learning a lot about life from them, including his rank in the family. The matriarch had other babies, but they didn't all survive. So she will do everything it takes to keep her last-born child alive. But soon, her determination will be tested. The first flights of migratory birds overhead announce that the rainy season is almost over. In the weeks since the rain stopped, the water level has been dropping. Gradually at first, but now rapidly. Life in this watery paradise is coming to an end. The elephants have no choice but to follow the birds and leave the savannah. This is just the start of a long and treacherous journey, a journey they must undertake every year. Their odyssey will take them more than 450 kilometers, from waterhole to waterhole. For 4 months, they will walk and walk, following the ancient trails etched in the memory of the matriarch. She will lead them across this vast land, with only the smells and sounds of the savannah to guide them on their way. Dusk is the best time for traveling, as their eyes are able to distinguish shades and colors much better than in the harsh, unforgiving daylight. Thus, their long pilgrimage gets underway. Every time they stop, the baby elephant feeds hungrily. He isn't used to walking all day and all night, so he needs much more milk than usual. By filming them after dark, we are able to discover that elephants graze constantly, even when walking. They have to. The big matriarch needs to eat more than 100 kilograms of food every single day. The baby elephant approaches a hole in the ground his mother has dug with her powerful tusks. For the very first time, he tastes the muddy water, full of the minerals that will help him to survive. Something moves. At 3 months old, our elephant's child is eternally curious. But he has no idea how dangerous it would be to leave the safety of the herd. There are many dangers out here at night, especially for a lone baby elephant. His mother is worried. She stops walking, as do her obedient daughters. Frozen silent, every sense on high alert, mother and daughters listen to the sounds of the night. They do so, amazingly, with their feet, using their enormous soles to detect vibrations through the earth. The matriarch can feel it. Lions are in the neighborhood. But tonight, the lions keep their distance. They know that there are too many elephants and that together, they are too powerful. The baby elephant is free to have fun. Reassured, his mother returns to her feast of mud. Tomorrow, our baby elephant will drink milk enriched with those precious minerals. The matriarch gives the signal. It's time to leave. Along with another elephant family, the females take to the road once again. But they're constantly delayed by their youngsters, as they must make frequent detours and take alternative, safer routes. The males depart at their leisure. For the small mammals that live here, the dry season is a time of change, when their world turns to dust. Soon the outside world will become a furnace, and only the deepest burrows will be able to sustain life. Meerkats know that the dry season is the signal for the elephants to leave the plains. Their first obstacle is 𝗪𝗪𝗫𝗪, a great salt lake, dry and searingly hot, where only the bravest animals dare to venture. Yet, despite the dangers, this is the way the males have chosen, as for them, it's the quickest and most direct route to the north. For the baby elephant's father, the time has finally come for him to cross this harsh landscape. Another huge elephant is among the travelers. A creature so old and venerable, he is missing one of his tusks. For many years, the new patriarch was his disciple and owes him huge respect. He made his very first crossings with the old master of the clan. There are hidden creatures here too, smaller and less obvious, but just as important in the scheme of things. The departure of the giant elephants is their signal to stock up their larder, because without their enormous droppings, these tiny insects would have nothing to eat. The dung beetle uses the position of the sun to help him roll his prize into the straightest possible line. The male elephants begin walking at dusk as the sun sets. They can cover more than 80 kilometers in 24 hours, so have all night to cross the salt lake under the light of the stars. This year, the dry season has arrived early. The baby elephant's family finally makes a stop on their long march. While her baby is feeding, the matriarch weighs up her options. Many moons ago, her own mother taught her about the northern trail that bypasses the dry lake. It's a much longer route than that taken by the males, but a far safer one. She's made up her mind. Nothing is more important than the safety of her baby. And the moment the elephants leave, a miniature world emerges to take over the night. Along with meerkats, porcupines are the only creatures able to endure the dry season. They are never seen during the day, for they are exclusively nocturnal. As foragers, they live on what the elephants leave behind: seeds, roots, and tubers, which enable them to survive until the next rains come. Porcupines may not be very big, but they have no fear of predators. Not a single hyena, leopard, or even a lion would dare go up against their spiny armor. The timeless canopy of stars bears witness to the history of these elephants. A story of endless journeys through space and time. But it's also a story of decline. In the 19th century, there were 20 million elephants roaming across this vast continent. Today, there are barely 500,000. As dawn breaks, the males all head off in the same direction. They're aiming for the very last water hole between the salt lake they've left behind and the lands of the north they are aiming to reach. The sun is already very high in the sky when the patriarch and his young disciples finally arrive. The temperature has risen to 45 degrees, the scorching air burning their skin. Other families begin to arrive, but our baby elephant's clan is not among them. This is not a good sign. This pool is fed by a spring that flows from the headwaters. But today the spring is no longer flowing, and the pool is nothing more than a puddle of undrinkable mud. The elephants assemble around the pool, reducing the available water even further. Many cannot even approach it. It's the law of the wild. Only the strongest survive. The patriarch has found his place at the front. The others will just have to wait. Once, long ago, this part of Africa was a little paradise. In this very spot, there was a lake so vast, it spread all the way to the sea. That lake has now completely disappeared. But the elephants' ancient collective memory still brings them here even today. cannot go more than 3 days without water. Our matriarch, on whom this whole family is so dependent, hasn't had a drink since they departed 2 days ago. But there's a problem. The spring is being hogged by a group of large and selfish males. She and her daughters will have to wait until these huge beasts have drunk their fill. Night and day, still more new arrivals come, groups of elephants crowding around the spring. Soon, only the smell of the water will remain. With this ever-growing number of elephants, the spring will inevitably run dry, its sparkling waters turning to dust. Will the matriarch and her daughters be too late? A lone hyena has already infiltrated this loose circle of elephants. Being both curious and disobedient, the baby elephant isn't yet old enough to understand that some animals can be very dangerous. Hyenas know this, and when they attack, it's often too late. At the very last moment, the baby elephant's older sister comes to his defense. But one elephant wasn't so fortunate. During the night, the elephant clan lost one of its members. Lions attacked out of nowhere, taking advantage of the darkness. An 8-year-old female had strayed too far from the group and paid with her life. Just before dawn breaks, the matriarch makes her decision. They must all leave. Keeping her youngest offspring tight within the group, she leads them away to try their luck elsewhere. It's a tough call, but the right one, for tomorrow may be too late. After long nights of walking, the grasslands are finally in sight. The elephants, males and females, each following different trails, have already traveled more than 100 kilometers. Beyond the savannah, they move in the direction of a river whose location they already know. The savannah is a sanctuary for grazing animals, and that means it is lion territory too. The male elephants are the first to arrive, stopping at the forest edge. Ignoring the lions, the patriarch and his followers continue unwaveringly on their course. Nothing can shift the big male from his path. He knows exactly where he's going. This annual rendezvous hasn't moved. Being a tree, it cannot. This very special acacia, overflowing with fruits and seeds, is etched into his memory. But how can he get to the food in the highest branches without destroying the entire tree? He needs to be gentle and very careful not to uproot his precious tree. Treated with care, it will be here to greet him year after year, long into the future. This is how his old master lost one of his tusks many years ago. The new patriarch learned his lesson well, just as his two young companions are learning from him today. Elephants digest only half the food they eat, so hornbills follow them around and devour whatever they can find in their piles of dung. The leftover seeds germinate and grow into plants, making elephants one of the great gardeners of the savannah and helping it to regenerate each year as they pass through. The next morning, our baby elephant plays hide and seek in the bush. He is allowed to, as his family has finally arrived. Because the acacia tree is being hogged by the males, the matriarch contents herself with grazing on the nutrient-rich wild grasses, whose moisture helps her to quench her thirst. But there is still something bothering her. There are lions in the distance. She can feel their movements through the soles of her feet, and even count how many there are. Yes, elephants really can count. But the lion's hunting skills have nothing on this matriarch, as she knows exactly where those big cats are. She draws her baby closer. As long as she is right by his side, the lions will always keep their distance. Now that the elephants have left, the lions prefer to hunt smaller, perhaps easier prey. But gazelles and antelopes are always on the alert, and when they spot a lion, there's no way to catch them. The rule is simple: the lions move on. At sundown, the elephant family arrives at the waterhole, safe and sound. It's still there, just as the matriarch remembered it. Finally, she, her family, and their companions will be able to quench their thirst. And just in time, for the matriarch and her daughters wouldn't have lasted one more day. The elephants move slowly. The water is so clear here, they have to be very careful not to muddy it. Other families arrive, and using the low rumbling of their special language, inaudible to the human ear, the matriarchs recognize, greet, and relay news to one another. At the end of the night, they'll leave the tree-covered savannah and head towards the river. A river so large, they will have to swim to get across. The eyes of the eagle owl designed to see in the black of night, amplify the tiniest glows of light. It sees what is invisible to us. The matriarch enjoys the coolness and silence of the night. She slows her pace so that her baby can keep up with her. The group have been traveling for a month. They are weary, but must push on towards the promised river. Even though so far they've only traveled half the way. In the collective memory of the elephants, this landscape is a living map. They know every feeding ground and every waterhole. And what's even more impressive is that they know exactly how much time it takes to get from one to the other. Finally, they get to the great 𝗕𝗲𝗹𝗹 River. At the halfway point of their epic journey, it's the only river that still contains water in the middle of the dry season. For several hours, the big patriarch treats himself to the luxury of a long bath. For him, the largest and heaviest land mammal on the planet, it's the perfect opportunity to wash off the layers of dust accumulated on his epic voyage. He floats effortlessly, the water making his 6-ton body feel almost weightless. The young males who have followed him this far run joyfully towards their first bath in weeks. But the patriarch is entitled to his privacy, and the young males must not swim too close. And yet, this is a short-lived pleasure. It may be hard to believe, but this mighty river will soon run completely dry. At last, the baby elephant and his mother are close to salvation. One last push, and the matriarch can lead him to a safe place in the water. To drink. To finally drink. And on his own, too. He's almost weaned by now, which is a good thing, because his mother's milk has almost run dry from all that walking. So although for now the riverbank overflows with an abundance of life, this will all vanish when the waters dry up. When in full flood, the river submerges the savanna. As the water subsides, young grass packed with vitamins appears. It is so tender that even the baby elephant can chew it easily. His mother knows that the water level is dropping day by day. They must take advantage of this short-lived glut of food. The matriarch takes some much-needed time for herself, while the baby elephant is carefully watched by another female from the herd. Refreshed and satisfied, he discovers a paradise closely resembling the one where he was born just 6 months ago. He will keep this in his memory forever. But he's about to learn that this is only one of many steps on his journey to his final destination. His mother knows that with their enormous needs, elephants inevitably outstrip the available resources wherever they roam. After only a few days, they leave devastation in their wake. So an elephant's destiny is to constantly keep moving, with no rest or respite. How do they find the strength to leave each paradise behind, constantly searching for water and greener pastures? How do they manage to keep finding the safest routes to escape predators? It takes courage. The elephants have a great deal of courage and enormous amounts of intelligence, and they need them. Tonight, the elephants are agitated. Strange creatures dance around their legs in the tall grass. It's their dung that attracts these animals. Bat-eared foxes feast on the insects that thrive in elephant droppings. Every night, these opportunistic creatures swarm over the savannah, dashing from one pile of droppings to the next. Each is a unique treasure, and no one wants to relinquish their choice morsel of crunchy insect. The elephant season is very short, so the foxes need to be quick. Once again, the strongest and cleverest make the rules. At this point in their journey, our elephant family leaves the ephemeral paradise of the 𝗵𝗵𝗄𝗃 River. They are rested and have gathered their strength. It will be a long journey, with many obstacles and improbable encounters. On their voyage, they will come across many unusual animals, strange creatures never seen by day, as they only come out at night. The scaly anteater, or pangolin, is the only mammal in the world to have scales and shares the sad fate of the elephants in being one of the most endangered species on Earth. The aardvark's appearance and lifestyle is even more astounding than its name. While playing and rolling in the mud, pretending to fight, young elephants create friendships that will last a lifetime. At this point, the matriarch returns to the place of her last mating encounter. One night, a village pops up on the ancestral route. The elephants must decide whether to cross the village as though it wasn't there, or take a detour around it. The drought follows the families all along their journey. Youngsters and adults alike face a test of their strength. The matriarch's great intelligence and long memory serves her well, in facing the hostile environment that gets more and more barren and unforgiving. Little by little, the water holes disappear and the last dregs are bitterly disputed. They become dangerous traps where lions and hyenas lie in wait. To escape the blistering heat, the elephants only walk at night, resting up during the day wherever they find shade. Elephants dying of exhaustion are faced with braver and braver hyenas. Previously fearful and circumspect, the hyenas are now arrogant and fearless in front of these weakened giants. Will our matriarch succeed in guiding her family to safety? Will she overcome all of the obstacles and avoid the many traps along the way? Will the elephant survive the unrelenting heat that will only subside with the next rainy season?